Hello YouTube, how's it going? It's the Professional here. Today we are reviewing a Terrorbyte truck that was just recently added as part of the drip feed with the After Hours DLC. This truck is unique as it allows us to run our different businesses from it, ranging from the MC businesses to the bunker to the hangar to import-export and CEO crates. However, it does not let us buy supplies for the MC businesses and the bunker, which is a little disappointing. It also adds the new unique client jobs, which we will discuss in a little bit. This truck is also outfitted with its own unique SAM missile launcher, as well as a drone station. It also has a weapons workshop and a separate workshop for the Oppressor Mark II. When you do finish making all the upgrades on the Warstock website, you're going to be spending around $3,397,000 like me here. But if you choose to upgrade it, there's more options. If you take it inside your nightclub, you're probably going to be spending an extra $200,000, different kinds of armor and speed upgrades in here. So if you want to upgrade it to the full extent, make sure that you also take it inside your nightclub. Extra armor and speed upgrades don't hurt. And also what I like about this vehicle, it's a cosmetic feature, but I like that you can change the entire paint on this thing. You can pretty much make it one whole paint. I made it all orange here. The other vehicles, the delivery vehicles like the Pounder Custom and the Mule Custom, you couldn't customize the entire color, just a small little siding. This one, you customize the whole color, so the armor doesn't really obstruct the color, which is nice about this vehicle. So when I first purchased this truck, I wanted to see how fast it is. So in this case, we're doing a race here against an MOC truck with a front cabin that's a Phantom, and also against a Pounder Custom. And all of the trucks starting out at the same time, the MOC takes lead right here. The Pounder Custom eventually outpaces the MOC, but the Terrorbyte doesn't really have much of a chance of catching up to them. In a second test that we did here, I got a 2-second head start on both the MOC and the Pounder Custom. And the MOC was struggling to keep up with me. It eventually catches up to me, but the Pounder Custom easily catches up to the Terrorbyte and passes it no problem. So take a look at this right here. MOC is slowly catching up to me, and then the Pounder Custom comes out of nowhere right here and just passes both of us. So it looks like the MOC has the fastest acceleration out of them. The Pounder Custom has the fastest top speed though. When we explore the interior of the Terrorbyte, this section right here is where you would store and customize the Oppressor Mark II, but we're going to save that for when we talk about the Oppressor Mark II in the next review. Here we're just going to be talking about the Terrorbyte. It also has a weapons workshop, and for everybody that was asking me, should I buy an MOC or should I buy an Avenger? Get the Terrorbyte, because the Terrorbyte also has the weapon workshop, and it also has a lot more abilities, including the ability to collect cargo from your various businesses, and also launch client jobs. Right here in this room, this little closet right here, a lot of people miss this, but this is actually a wardrobe where you can customize your clothes, which is actually a pretty nice feature. On this touch screen right here, this is where you can run your various businesses from, so you don't have to go back to the office anymore in order to source cargo, which was a real pain in the past. But we also have something new called client jobs, and we have various new missions: robbery in progress, data sweep, targeted data, diamond shopping, collector's pieces, deal breaker. Robbery in progress is where you look through a bunch of security cameras, you find a bank that's being attacked, you go and kill the bank robbers, take the gold, take it to the drop-off point. Data sweep is where you have to find a certain amount of vehicles, and the vehicles you have to hack into each one until you find the right vehicle that contains the drives. Then you just take the vehicle and take it to the drop-off point. Targeted data is where you break into the Life Invader building, you use drones, you hack into their computers, you find a target, and then you kill them. Diamond shopping is where you rob the jewelry store from the single player jewelry store heist mission. You go in there, you kill a guard that has a specific diamond briefcase, you take it to the drop-off point and give it to the buyer. Collector's pieces is a job where you have to break into a bunch of different security vans, break open the back, and then you take antiques, and then you make 3 drop-offs at the end. And then deal breaker, it's where you have to go and ambush a deal, steal a briefcase, take it to the drop-off point. Don't do collector's pieces and deal breaker. These two are the worst. If you're going to be doing any, do robbery in progress, data sweep, targeted drive, and diamond shopping. They each pay around $30,000, and they're not really complicated to do. They're pretty easy, and some of them can be fun. If you guys want a good breakdown of these missions, because there is a lot of them, and I don't really want to waste time on the Terrorbyte review, I uploaded a video yesterday talking about the missions in great detail. If you guys want to check that out, I'll also have that link in the description down below. Moving on right here, we're going to be talking about the different kinds of cargo that we can now source. You can source air freight cargo, CEO cargo, vehicle cargo, and you can steal supplies for the bunker and the biker businesses. You can't buy supplies, which is the most disappointing thing about this truck for me. I'm so disappointed you can't buy supplies from this thing. You really should have that option. In terms of buying crates, this is going to make crate work so much easier, because the number one thing that annoyed me about CEO crates was just the fact that you had to go back to the office every time. I always wished that there was a way for us just to cut out that middleman where we just go to the office. We should have an option where we just go on one computer, hit the button, and then the second we deliver the crates, we should have the option to source more crates. Fortunately, though, this truck has an ability like that. You can just spawn this truck with an interaction menu. It won't spawn right in front of you. Usually spawns a few blocks away. You can go right on your computer, and you can just source crates. Make sure that you're in the city, though, when you start sourcing crates, because they only spawn really in the city. That's what's nice about this truck. You can also go to the cab. You can go to the front cab when you're inside of it, and you can also go from the cab to the inside. Just hold right on the directional pad if you're on a controller. So it makes it very, very easy and very simple to collect crates with this truck. The only bad thing I would say about this truck in regards to sourcing CEO crates is that you don't see a map of your crate warehouses like you do in the office. So when you're sourcing crates, just make sure you memorize the name of your crate warehouses, assuming that you have multiple warehouses, just so you know which warehouse that you're sourcing to. And also a quick tip for everybody sourcing CEO crates with this: if you take a look at your map after you buy crates, and you see where that warehouse is supposed to be, if that warehouse disappears off the map, in this case it's not on the map, that means that the crates are going to be in a vehicle, so they're going to be in a van or a truck. But if the warehouse is on the map, the warehouse that you source to when you purchase crates, that means that it's going to be a drop, where it's going to be like 1, 2, 3 crates that you have to pick up individually. But remember, if the warehouse is not on the map, the one that you're sourcing to, it's always going to be a vehicle. So in this case, it is going to be a vehicle. My friend Philip7715 is the one who told me about that trick. I'll have his link down in the description in case you guys want to check him out. But here we delivered the crates, and we delivered another 3 crates. So I'm going to be doing a lot more crates, because in the past, I just hated doing crates. And I know a lot of you guys hated doing crates because it's such a stressful business. But now, just the fact that we don't have to go back to the office is going to make the crate warehouses so much better and so much more effective. The Terrorbyte also makes doing import-export very simple, and if you have 10 standard and 10 mid-range cars already in your warehouse, you're only going to source top-range cars. So get those 10 standard and 10 mid-range cars in your vehicle warehouse, and you're only going to source top-range cars with this thing. Very easy. You don't have to go back to the office anymore. Just do it in your Terrorbyte. There is one really bad thing about this truck that I have to warn everybody about, and that is, do not source hanger crates with this truck. When this truck gave us the option to source hanger crates, I got really excited. I was like, oh yes, now I don't gotta go back to the stupid hanger every time and go on that computer. I got really excited for that. I could just go and pick up the crate, right? Well, it's not that simple. Some of the hanger missions, you can just go and pick up the crate. Other ones, though, they're gonna force you to go back to Fort Zancudo or LSIA, whichever hanger that you have. So in this case, I have Fort Zancudo, and I started up the mission right here, and it's telling me get in the air ambulance. It's not letting me go to the objective, and for this mission, you don't even need the air ambulance. You don't. It's the mission where you take the silent sniper rifle, and you go and pick up the 4 packages. So you don't really need a air ambulance for this mission, but for some reason, they're forcing you to go back to your hangar and pick up these resupply vehicles. Don't pick them up. It's just a giant waste. It's always better to destroy them and just use a different vehicle for it. But we can't do the rest of the mission unless we get over there and we blow up those vehicles or we get into them, which makes this such a pain, and it kind of really defeats the purpose. It's what's the point of sourcing hanger crates from the Terrorbyte if I have to drive all the way back to the hangar anyways and pick up these vehicles? I should not have to pick up these vehicles. And, you know, Rockstar should have put more effort into this. They should have taken that out where you have an option to get into the air ambulance. You don't have to, but you have an option, because you don't need the air ambulance for this mission. And almost all the other missions, you don't ever need the vehicles that they give you with. So don't source hanger crates with this vehicle, because it's going to be such a pain. You're going to have to go back to your hangar every time. The only way I would say is source hanger crates if your Terrorbyte is literally right next to your hangar, where you spawn right next to those delivery vehicles and those resupply vehicles. That's the only time I say it's good to resupply with that. Other than that, do not use the Terrorbyte to resupply hanger crates, because it's just going to be such a waste of time. Okay, so now let's talk about the special weapons on this thing and its unique abilities. Let's start out with the SAM launcher. This weapon is very unique because I have never seen a weapon that is able to lock on the players on foot. If there is a player on foot, you can lock onto them with this weapon. Not only that, but this thing can also lock on to multiple targets at once. You see, one of my friends, she's in a plane, and then another one of my friends is on the ground. We fire 2 missiles, one at the person on the ground, and another one at the person in the plane. These missiles are pretty easy to dodge. They're not like Deluxo missiles or anything. You can outrun them, but if you're on the ground, you're on foot, you're going to die from these. These missiles are going to very easily lock onto you and hit you, so you got to be very careful with this, because if there's 2 people in this vehicle, a driver and a gunner, and they go around following people on the ground, they could really abuse this launcher to kill a lot of people. This vehicle is also very armored, which would make it a very tough target to take down. We're going to be talking about armor in a second here, but the missiles on this thing, you can fire 1 missile at a time. Once the charge is up, you fire another missile. It's best just to hold down the trigger, because every time the charge finishes, it'll launch another missile. Even though this thing can only fire 1 missile at a time, if you lock on to 2 to 3 targets, you could actually fire 2 to 3 missiles at once, but only if you lock onto those targets. Another unique feature on this truck is the ability to scan other players. When you scan somebody, you can see their name, their rank, their total earnings, their kills, their deaths, their accuracy, their favorite weapon, their favorite vehicle, radio station. You can even see how many private dances they've had and how many prostitutes they've picked up. This feature is nice and all, but it doesn't serve really any other purpose than to have fun, mess around with your friends. More for that fun aspect, not really going to be making you money or doing anything else for you. But one disappointing thing about this feature is that it does not show total playtime. It should show total playtime. It should show how many days somebody has, because if somebody has like over $3 billion total earnings and they only have a few days played, that way you know that they're a modder. So that would be a good way to spot out modders. Rockstar should have put in total playtime in the stats included when you scan somebody. The other unique ability on the Terrorbyte is the ability to spawn in drones. And with these drones, you can shock people, you can tase them, and you can also detonate a charge, which will kill anybody that's right next to it, but the charge takes a few seconds to detonate. And when I first started using this drone, I wanted to see how far could I take the drone before it fails. Does it have an infinite range? And it doesn't have an infinite range. There's a certain distance you can take, basically a few blocks, a little bit, maybe like a little bit over 100 meters, and then after that the drone starts failing. So the drone actually does not have that much range that I thought it would. So at this point the drone starts failing, and I'm actually not that far from the Terrorbyte, so the range on this drone is a little disappointing. And if you look at the map, you can see that I'm not that far from it. I guess this was to balance out the drone. So like after about a little bit over 100 meters, it starts failing, and then if you go too far, the drone will explode. The other options on this drone are the option to shock, detonate, and boost. Boost is basically where you saw me taking the drone out a little earlier. You can get a temporary speed boost, but that's all it does. Shock acts like a taser, so you can tase an enemy. If you tase an NPC, it'll kill them. But if you tase a player, it'll just basically stun them. You can get the jump on somebody, mess around with your friends. You could scare them also. If you get behind somebody and tase them, they probably won't know what's going on, and then they'll realize they got tased. The other option is detonate, but this probably wouldn't really work because it does take a few seconds for it to detonate, and then somebody would notice the drone at that point. But if you do manage to detonate it all the way, it will kill the target. These drones are also extremely small, and players won't notice them unless they carefully pay attention for the sound, because it makes a unique sound when it gets close to you. But other than that, most players probably wouldn't notice the drone hovering over them or actually getting close to them, unless it's finally at point blank range. Then they'll see it, but it's actually a very small drone and very hard to see it. Now, another tip that I wanted to give about the Terrorbyte is that cops can't get you in this thing. As you can see, I am surrounded by so many cops. They're all over the place. They're shooting up the truck and they can't hurt me. So if you're in the back of the truck, don't worry about any cops hurting you. And also, another quick tip on top of that, no matter what kind of wanted level you have, in this case, I have a 5-star wanted level. If you have a Terrorbyte and you call it in and you go inside the Terrorbyte, you will lose your entire wanted level. So as you guys can see, I'm inside a Terrorbyte and then I go outside. I lose the whole wanted level. So anytime you have a wanted level and you can't call Lester, just spawn a Terrorbyte, drive up to it, go inside, instantly lose wanted level easy. And here at the end, we come to our damage resistance test, and there is something wrong with the armor on this truck. This truck, in this test, it's taken over 30 missiles from an RPG to blow it up. But in other tests, it only took a few missiles. I've seen it take up to 5 missiles and then it explodes. But here, it's taking over 30 missiles, and that's really an insane amount. So I don't know if this is a glitch or what's going on here, but regardless the case, this truck is extremely armored. So in this case, took over 30 missiles. We buy more RPG ammo. Let's fire off some more shots. Ridiculous how much this truck can take. And if somebody gets into that SAM missile launcher, and you have a driver also, and they go after like players on foot, they can kill a lot of people with that SAM launcher. So this truck can be extremely difficult to take down. And let's see. Boom, it's gone. If you have a person in the front cab, they will die, but anybody in the back, they'll survive. So here we come to our pros and our cons. And the pros are, it can source cargo, so it's great. Absolutely great for sourcing CEO crates, great for sourcing import-export vehicles, but absolutely terrible for sourcing hangar work. Remember that. No hangar work. Don't do hangar work with this thing. And also, you can't buy supplies with that, so just keep that in mind. If you're planning on doing MC businesses in bunker, because I only buy supplies, I don't bother stealing them. It's much more effective to buy supplies. If you want to know why it's better to buy supplies, watch my MC money guides. I've made various money guides on it. Just much more effective, better than stealing and wasting time on that. It has a unique SAM launcher. The SAM launcher, even though it doesn't have a high fire rate, it can lock onto the ground. I have not seen any other weapon in this game being able to lock on to players on foot. Always locks on the vehicles, but players on foot, I haven't seen a weapon do that before. So it truly is a unique weapon, but it can be overpowered if two people know what they're doing. You got a driver and a passenger, and they go after people on foot, and this thing is very armored. You got to watch out for that. Which brings us to our next pro. It's very armored. Sometimes it takes 5 RPGs, but even if it takes 5 RPGs, that's still pretty good, especially for a big truck like this. You know, the Pounder Custom and the Mule Custom, they only take 1 RPG. This thing, it can go, I've seen it go up to 30 RPGs. So if that's a glitch or not, regardless, it is a pro. It's a very, very armored, very strong armor. Now, the other pro is it has a weapons workshop, same thing that's in an MOC or Avenger. So this thing, I personally believe it's much better now than an MOC. The Avenger could still have a purpose of getting because the Avenger is an air vehicle, so it has that advantage over this. But I personally don't think that there's really any point in buying the MOC anymore, unless you want to do the gun running missions, or store your vehicle in there. But it's either this and Avenger. I don't think the MOC people should really get anymore, but that's just my opinion. You can spawn it from the interaction menu, so you just need to go into your interaction menu. You can spawn it. You can lose cops very easily in this thing. You just need to go inside, you lose cops, you go right back out, instant loss of wanted level. So if you don't have Lester on dial, just go right up to this thing, spawn it, you can lose cops instantly. It has the drones. The drones, they don't have great range, but they do have unique abilities. They could shock, they could explode. It's a new kind of ability, new vehicle really to pilot. We haven't had drones before. And it has client jobs. Some of the client jobs, the first 4, they pay good. To stay away from collectors and deal breaker, because those are really bad. Those are really bad jobs. But other than that, a lot of the new client jobs are great. They don't affect the CEO work cooldown. So if you do a CEO work and then you do this, you can just keep doing the back to back. So it's pretty good on that. And now the cons, it's a pretty expensive vehicle. While the base price isn't that expensive, if you end up buying all the upgrades and then you also take it inside the nightclub and you upgrade the armor and the speed, you can be spending close to $4 million on this thing. And the other con, hangar work is absolutely terrible. Do not source hangar crates with this because they will force you to go all the way back to Fort Zancudo or LSIA, depending on where you are. It kind of really defeats the purpose of spawning hangar crates. It's really annoying that they force you to go back and get those vehicles. You don't even need those vehicles for those missions. I never use those vehicles. But for some reason, they want you to go back. So if you're planning on doing hangar work with this thing, don't bother. Don't do hangar work with it. Another con is it's not very fast. It's not extremely slow either, but in comparison to the other trucks like the MOC and the Pounder Custom, it's pretty slow. Another con is the drone. It has little range, so if you go off after like 100 meters up to it, the drone starts losing connection and then eventually blows up. So I was expecting a little bit more range on it, but I guess it's a way to balance it out so that people don't take this all the way across the map and then blow people up. And the last con is, this is the worst con for me, you can't buy supplies. It should have had this option. If you have the option to run all your businesses from it, you should have the option to buy supplies. I don't know why this is a thing. I wish there was just a simple option where you could just hit all the different businesses and you could just buy supplies and the bunker. That would make it so much easier, but unfortunately, we still gotta go back and forth between each business. But the good thing is, we can source CEO crates and import-export from this thing, no problem. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're new to my channel and you enjoyed this content, subscribe. I personally think everybody should get this vehicle. If you are a grinder, you do import-export or CEO crates, you must have this vehicle. This vehicle is great, especially with the addition of client jobs. So please, if you're a grinder, get this vehicle because I don't think you'll regret it. It'll definitely help you in the long term, especially if you plan on filling up those 111 crate warehouses. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.